She thought the maid was powerless. In front of a ballroom filled with wealthy guests, she grabbed the young woman, screamed at her, and humiliated her over what seemed like a tiny mistake. Everyone froze. No one stepped in. But hidden among the crowd was one silent witness who had seen every second of it. He wasn't just another guest. He was the billionaire who owned everything in the room. Before the night was over, one cruel decision would destroy an engagement worth millions, while one act of quiet dignity would change a maid's life forever. The grand opening gala at the luxurious Ashford Grand Hotel sparkled with crystal chandeliers, live music, and some of the wealthiest guests in the city. Every server moved with perfect precision, hoping to survive the pressure of the evening. Among them was Emily Carter, a quiet young maid who had worked double shifts for nearly 3 years to care for her ill mother and younger brother. She never complained, even when guests ignored her or treated her as invisible. Across the ballroom stood Vanessa Blake, a glamorous social media celebrity engaged to billionaire hotel owner Adrian Ashford. Vanessa loved expensive jewelry, designer gowns, and the attention that came with dating one of the richest men in the country. She believed everyone beneath her existed only to serve her. Adrian, however, was nothing like the headlines suggested. While the public admired his success, very few knew he often walked through his own hotels unnoticed, quietly observing how employees and guests treated one another. That evening, instead of sitting in the VIP lounge, Adrian watched the event through the hotel's security room and occasionally stepped onto the floor in an ordinary black suit without anyone recognizing him. As the celebration reached its busiest moment, Emily carefully carried a silver tray holding crystal glasses toward the VIP table. A child suddenly ran across the ballroom, forcing Emily to stop quickly. One glass tilted, spilling only a few drops of sparkling water onto Vanessa's designer handbag. It wasn't damaged at all, but Vanessa exploded with fury. Before hundreds of stunned guests, she grabbed Emily by the wrist, shouted cruel insults, accused her of being worthless, and angrily threw the tray onto the marble floor where the glasses shattered into glittering pieces. Emily apologized repeatedly, her hands shaking as she tried to clean the broken glass. But Vanessa continued humiliating her, demanding the hotel manager fire her immediately. Many guests looked away, unwilling to get involved. Others secretly recorded the confrontation on their phones. Vanessa smiled confidently, believing no one would dare question the future wife of a billionaire. What Vanessa never realized was that Adrian had watched every second of the incident from multiple camera angles before walking silently into the ballroom himself. He didn't interrupt immediately. Instead, he observed how each manager reacted. Some rushed to comfort Vanessa. Only one elderly supervisor knelt beside Emily to help her collect the broken glass and asked whether she had been hurt. Adrian noted every face and every decision. Then, with the room still silent, he calmly walked toward the crowd. Vanessa instantly switched to a sweet smile, expecting him to defend her. "Darling," she said dramatically, "this careless maid ruined my evening." Adrian didn't answer. Instead, he gently helped Emily stand up and noticed a small cut on her hand caused by the shattered glass. Removing his own handkerchief, he wrapped her injured hand before asking softly, "Are you all right?" The ballroom fell completely silent. Vanessa laughed nervously, assuming Adrian was simply being polite, but his expression remained cold. He turned to the hotel staff and asked for the security footage to be displayed on the enormous ballroom screen. Within seconds, every guest watched the replay. It clearly showed Emily protecting a child from being hit by the tray, the tiny splash of water, Vanessa grabbing the maid first, throwing the tray herself, and continuing to shout long after the accident had ended. Gasps echoed throughout the room. The truth was undeniable. Adrian then faced Vanessa with the calm voice that frightened his executives more than shouting ever could. "The character you reveal when you believe no one important is watching," he said, "is the only character that truly matters." Vanessa desperately tried to defend herself, claiming Emily had embarrassed her in front of everyone. Adrian quietly replied, "No, Vanessa, you embarrassed yourself." He removed the engagement ring from his pocket, the very ring he had planned to present publicly that evening, and placed it on the table between them. "I can build another company," he continued, "but I will never build a family with someone who believes kindness is weakness." Shock spread across the ballroom. Reporters lowered their cameras. Investors exchanged astonished glances. Vanessa's confident smile disappeared as she realized the relationship, the luxury lifestyle, and the future she had taken for granted had vanished in a single moment. Then Adrian turned back to Emily. Instead of apologizing with empty words, he asked about her life. She hesitated before explaining that she worked overtime every week to pay for her mother's medical treatment while saving enough for evening business classes she dreamed of attending. Adrian smiled gently. "Tomorrow," he announced, "you'll no longer be cleaning rooms." Confused, Emily looked up. Adrian promoted her to the hotel's employee development program, offered to pay for her education, and asked her to help train future staff because, in his words, integrity cannot be taught from a handbook, it must be lived. The ballroom erupted into applause, not because a billionaire had shown generosity, but because genuine dignity had finally been recognized. News of the evening spread across social media overnight. Millions watched the security footage, praising Emily's humility and Adrian's leadership. Hotels around the country even adopted new employee respect policies inspired by the incident. Emily eventually completed her business degree, rose through the company, and years later became the youngest regional operations director in the hotel's history. Whenever new employees asked how her remarkable journey began, she would smile and say, "The worst day of my life became the best because one person chose to see my character instead of my job title." The story left people with a powerful reminder that wealth may buy luxury, beauty may attract attention, and status may open doors, but only kindness earns lasting respect. Because the truth is simple. The way someone treats the person who can do nothing for them reveals everything about who they really are. And sometimes, the person quietly watching from the corner isn't just another stranger. They're the one who can change your life forever. As the ballroom emptied and the lights slowly dimmed, people realized they hadn't witnessed a scandal. They had witnessed a lesson. The billionaire didn't choose elegance, beauty, or status. He chose kindness, integrity, and respect. The woman who believed she had all the power walked away with nothing, while the maid who never stopped treating others with grace walked into a future she had never imagined. Because in the end, true greatness isn't measured by the size of your fortune. It's revealed by how you treat the people who can offer you nothing in return. And sometimes, the smallest act of compassion becomes the biggest turning point in someone's life.